Hello babes, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video, I wanted to discuss Natasha and why Carrie was so fixated on her. Now, this was originally supposed to be an episode breakdown, but due to copyright issues, I decided that I had to change and fix this entire video. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. So I wanted to explore Natasha's character. Like I mentioned in my community post, I won't be doing any more Sex and the City breakdowns, at least for right now. The copyright claims on YouTube have gotten ridiculous. I love the show, it's a classic, but clearly the creators or networks aren't interested in people creating content about these characters anymore, or simply don't like the criticism. That being said, I already had this episode breakdown ready. The one where Natasha catches Carrie in her home, but in the middle of breaking down the episode, I got 3 copyright strikes on separate videos. So I will be doing a character analysis and speaking about the episode briefly, but more so about Natasha. This video won't have many clips, maybe 2-second clips max, but just mostly pictures, so this will be podcast style. From the beginning, Carrie had a problem with Natasha. Well, the anger and resentment she had toward Big got redirected towards this woman who didn't do anything to her besides fall in love with the same man she was once in a relationship with. In a very pick-me fashion, Carrie would constantly compare herself to Natasha, called her out of her name, and showed up at events she knew Natasha would be at. She acted like a high school girl desperate to be accepted by the rich, popular girl she felt inferior to. She hated her, but also wanted her validation. I think Big marrying Natasha brought up unresolved wounds for Carrie and a reminder of her youth, of maybe liking guys who would always choose women like Natasha over her. There are a lot of women who like to be friends with women they can't stand because they want to catch their blessings, and they think hanging out with the women who have natural magnetism about themselves will rub off on them, and at the same time they're the enemy, but they like to hang around you because they want the things that you get. But the episode in which Natasha confronted Carrie will always irritate me for several reasons. But the main one being that Carrie was so shameless. And I think she believed because she and Big had been in a relationship previously, if that's even what you want to call it, that she had a right to be in his home even though he was now married. And listen, Big was a dirtbag for this, and I still hate how he did what he did to Natasha because she didn't deserve it. But Carrie had an immense amount of nerve to continue to be in this woman's home that she and her husband shared, eating and acting as though what she was doing was okay. The moment Big left, she should have left. When Natasha went to confront her and she ran, it showed the kind of person Carrie was. You didn't have an issue sleeping with the Big and being in their home, but when Natasha is trying to confront you, you run away and then you cause her to hurt herself. Then having the nerve to get in the car with this woman to the hospital when she clearly didn't want you in the taxi with her and locked the door. Carrie, are you okay? Yet you still proceed to enter the car. I always skip past these episodes because it just annoys me how Carrie constantly makes herself a victim in every situation, even when she is the one who has done wrong. It also irritated me that they made it seem as though it was okay to have an affair with someone if you were with them first. Very Rory Gilmore. But Rory was 19 and Carrie was in her 30s. Still that same entitled behavior though. Now, when I mentioned in my video that Natasha was a class act, I'm not just talking about how she dressed, because a lot of people assume dressing modestly or coming from an upper class background means you're morally superior, when that is simply not true. Some of the wealthiest, most put together people are terrible human beings who built their lives off of greed and exploitation. But Natasha's class showed in her behavior. After everything that happened after the affair, she didn't yell, she didn't make a scene, and she would have every right to. When she saw Carrie at the restaurant post-affair, she didn't confront her or act out. She was just clearly disgusted and left. And what's crazy to me is that Carrie and her enabler group of friends tried to frame Natasha as the one who had a nasty attitude, especially Samantha. And it's because Samantha was a woman who slept with other women's husbands and thought Carrie did no wrong. That's the part of why Carrie lacked so much accountability. Her friends constantly validated her and made her feel like she was the victim, not the person who actually caused harm. Natasha had grace. She held her head high despite the public embarrassment and emotional betrayal she experienced. And I say public embarrassment because I'm pretty sure people around her had conversations about her being divorced so quickly and carrying on this affair. And that's something that couldn't have been easy, especially around this time back in the 90s and 2000s. She was only 25. This was probably her first serious relationship, and she married a man who ended up being immature and emotionally stunted. I think she thought that marrying an older man like Big meant he was ready to settle down, but he wasn't. And it wasn't for money either, because she came from wealth herself. And when she found out who he really was, she left. No performance, no ego trip, and she didn't drag out being married for years for the sake of image. She put herself first, and that is what a woman who values herself looks like. And in my previous video that I did of Natasha, I said that she was well read. And I've seen some people try to say that Natasha wasn't well read just because she used the wrong version of there once. The same tired line that Carrie used to boost her very little self-esteem. That doesn't make her stupid or not well read. It makes her human. People make typos, sometimes you're Russian. I mean, she was a successful woman who worked at Ralph Lauren and clearly had a good head on her shoulders. Even writers make that mistake sometimes. They correct it, but it's been done. If your biggest critique of her is one spelling mistake, then you're not being critical, and you have a very similar spirit to Carrie, grasping at anything to tear a woman down who never did anything to you. And that kind of competition is nitpicking and pathetic. After the affair, Natasha chose peace and moved on. Meanwhile, Carrie kept herself emotionally available to Big no matter who she was dating, while Natasha did the opposite. She was married to him for about a year, I believe, and decided to not be the woman who would stay married to a man 10, 20 years, which I doubt Big was the type to stay married to someone that long, but whatever. She decided she wasn't going to be miserable and tolerating his behavior out of love and image. When you choose you first and your happiness, then people who have nothing to offer but drama make you go the other way, and you have a low tolerance for it. And the fact that Carrie had enough audacity to carry on this affair with Big in his home and then feel like Natasha owed her a right to hear her out still baffles me. Where is your self-awareness, ma'am? And before I close this out, some of you need to stop saying that every woman has been a Carrie in life and in the same position as Carrie. Speak for yourself. That is simply not true. Some of us were raised with self-worth. Some of us were taught early on not to accept crumbs and the bare minimum from a man and to never put a man above ourselves. Not all women are male-centered. Not all of us are out here thinking that a man's feelings, thoughts, and existence are more important than our own. So stop the projection. Just because you saw yourself in Carrie doesn't mean everyone else did. That kind of thinking reminds me of the women who think that you have to struggle and have all of this strife and these challenges in your relationship in order to somehow be happy at the end of your relationship. And oh my goodness, he's changed now. We went through so much. That's not okay, and that's not cute. If you want that to be your story, then fine. But not every woman is tolerating that behavior. And don't sit here and get mad at women who don't tolerate that behavior. Debates and disagreements is one thing, and that's normal. But stop acting like a person accepting cheating and disrespect is normal, because it's not. And I am not going to normalize it either. That's not why everyone dislikes her. And also, if you have similarities with a character, why would you dislike them? That makes zero sense to me, but okay. Personally, I can't relate to Carrie. Do I sympathize with her sometimes? Sure. Do I love fashion? Absolutely yes. But she's not a character I would ever be friends with in real life, especially because I had family members who have very similar, entitled, self-absorbed attitudes, just like her, and I want nothing to do with them and never have any accountability for the things they do, thinking a sorry fixes everything and that they can do whatever they want with no consequences. Absolutely not. They constantly deflect and are emotionally and mentally draining. So if that's your cup of tea and that's who you like, that's fine. Do you. But please do not say that everyone relates to Carrie and that's the reason that they don't like her. And like I said before, struggle love is never okay. You deserve better, and you deserve a partner who truly loves you and respects you. And you don't need to bring your baggage into the next relationship and then cause them to now have these issues with themselves and be questioning themselves. You need to pour into you. You need to love you first, because if you don't, you'll lose yourself in relationships and start relying on other people to make you happy. And that's not fair to them or you. That being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.